Please understand that this is why Leftovers ended and that a voice is not a fringe within this community. Frogan is a retard that should be laughed at, right? I don't think you need to get angry at Frogan. However, I do think that Frogan is like a bit of a snake with this stuff. This is Hasan's approach. He's trying to take a softly catchy monkey situation. He doesn't want to cause a big beef. He doesn't want to cause a big drama. What message is that sending out? What message are you sending out if you're bringing on an extremist whose fundamental beliefs are rooted in anti-Semitism and don't ask any pressing questions about it and ask them what peace?
And yeah, I mean, I've never come out and said it explicitly, but I think I have more or less. But like, yeah, I mean, his community is the reason that I no longer wanted to do the show.
It all started here. Now, yesterday when I talked about this, did actually get baited as well. But fortunately, we're forgetting that and we're wiping the slate clean, so no one's ever going to know. But, yeah. Some of the Twitter leftoids were criticising Ethan Klein. I made the mistake of thinking this guy was some sort of giga leftoid Mao guy, but apparently he's not, okay? But I think this is like a troll post or fucking around, regardless. This is a sentiment that is shared by some people unironically. Do Americans actually know why bin Laden did all that, or do they all believe he hated that they can vote or something? So this guy is fucking around, sure, but obviously the people that are sharing this, not every single person agrees with the kind of comedic nature of this. Some people will actually agree with this sentiment. So although it's like stupid to rage out at a troll, there's definitely a genuine sentiment of this kind of like whitewashing of bin Laden, right? He did quite literally hate Americans because they could vote and had freedoms. He specifically states in his writings the reasons: homosexuality, lack of Sharia law, drug use, lending of money, and letting Jews run the country. Please read his writings before regurgitating tanky talking points and running defense for a mass murdering, homophobic, anti-Semitic piece of shit. Fuck bin Laden and anyone trying to rewrite history. Fuck that guy, am I right? Honestly, look, whilst I agree with Ethan Klein's sentiment, okay, I feel like he's getting angry about this. And I'm like, to me, it's just kind of funny. Maybe it's different for him as an American, as a Jewish guy, but bro, people are so dumb. It's funny to me, the fact that they're going to fucking suck off bin Laden when they'd shoot him through the heart in a second and not think twice about it, right? Particularly if you're gay or something like that, right? Like, Islamists of the level of bin Laden despise you, despise your way of life, and would see you dead. They'd see you dead or converted to Islam by force. I'm not making that up. That's not something that I've crafted to be Islamophobic. That is just factual. Islamists that do stuff like what bin Laden did think that, believe that. They think that you're lesser for not being a Muslim, and they will convert you by force if they have to. And if you don't, you'll get shot through the heart. That's it. End of conversation. This whitewashing is so crazy to me, particularly when you consider that, you know, this guy facilitated like the what is it? It is the most deadly terrorist attack on American soil, killing 3,000 people, many of who were completely innocent civilians, you know? And there's this game that's played, I think, where it's like, well, you know, America bad. And it's like, yes, America bad in some ways, right? America absolutely have caused issues with their foreign policy, you know, over the last sort of 100 years or so or whatever, right? That's true. But the thing is, that is taken advantage of and capitalized by bin Laden. Bin Laden isn't just doing it because, oh, a bunch of fucking Muslims got killed in the Middle East. He's capitalizing on it to push his own agenda, his own narrative, and his own ideology, which is extremely egregious and would be very bad for you. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get too into the politics of this. It's very gay and cringe. I don't care that much to talk about it. But you understand that although you can make a criticism of America's actions, the idea that bin Laden is a good guy is absurd and like completely ahistorical if you've got any concern of the freedoms and the rights that you have in the West, you know? So yeah, it's you know, it's very cringe when people do this stupid whitewashing. Anyway, so following that, Frogan then said this. This motherfucker never shuts up. Oh my god, right? And then Ethan posts this. This is a Hasan mod telling me, a Jewish man, to shut the fuck up because I dare to say Osama bin Laden was bad and hated Jews. Please understand that this is why Leftovers ended and that a voice is not a fringe within this community. So, Frogan is a retard that should be laughed at, right? I don't think you need to get angry at Frogan. I think that's... who cares about fucking Frogan, okay? However, I do think that Frogan is like a bit of a snake with this stuff. And I think Frogan will simultaneously act like the good Muslim or whatever, but will like criticize someone in a kind of sly way for criticizing bin Laden. And it's like, why? Like, surely you would be comfortable with criticism of bin Laden, even as a Muslim, because you would recognize that he's bad, right? Why would you even comment on this? Like, why would you even fucking comment on this and interject into this? It's so fucking stupid, you know? And I think, I don't know what the dynamic is between Frogan and Hasan. I don't know how close they are. I don't really think that there's... I don't think Hasan is responsible for Frogan, necessarily. I think that's a bit stupid. But I do think that there's a characterization of Hasan's community, which is, you know, there probably are people that have got some crazy views, you know, some of these so-called tanky views about Israel, Palestine and stuff like that. And I think that, you know, an individual can be anti-Israel, pro-Palestine without being anti-Semitic. But when you broaden that out and you've got like a massive community, it's like, yeah, you know, and particularly if you're not careful with your rhetoric and the way you talk about things, you're probably going to end up with a bunch of people that don't like Jews under the auspices of, oh yeah, Palestine, am I right? You know, it's kind of like, yeah, it kind of invites that. And I think you've seen recently, particularly after like October 7th, you've seen this game that's played, I think, by people who do have other perspectives that are smuggling in their ideas under this criticism of Israel shit, you know? But anyway, nonetheless, I'm a bit like, really? Like, this is a bit of an overreaction, I think. I don't think it's necessary to get this angry about fucking Frogan. Yeah, it's just a bit like, okay. But I think overall, bin Laden bad. Why on earth would you need to fucking step in to tell someone, can't you shut up criticizing bin Laden? Like, no. Not if people are genuinely trying to whitewash the guy, which is just happening, you know? Now, the bad news of this is that Hasan isn't really biting from what I've seen. Hasan is actually being quite diplomatic and, you know, somewhat gracious in how he's dealing with this, which is a bit disappointing. You know, because the best thing would be for them to get into a massive fight, but that doesn't seem to be happening. And it seems like Hasan is taking a kind of more moderate approach. And unfortunately, his content about this was reacting to like an hour-long video about the end of Leftovers. So it's kind of difficult to really react to that because he's reacting to a video. There was this one clip that I saw that I think, from what I understand, I guess summarizes his approach to this, which is very diplomatic, very calm, very boring. But, you know, I'll just play this and then we'll look at what Ethan said on his stream.
Thousands of Jewish members in this community that are prominent members of this community for many, many fucking years. Anti-Semitism is completely abhorrent and completely unacceptable. And there's never been a moment where I've ever allowed anti-Semitism. That's it. That's my red line. Okay. I'm very open-minded and I'm very nice. But if you come in here and you ever chirp and claim that there is anti-Semitism that I'm allowing in this community, you're fucking wrong. Okay?
Bro, it's become so hard to discern. Is this person just issuing a criticism of the state of Israel? Or are they actually, like, talking about Zionists a bit too much, you know? Do you know what I mean? It's like, how can you say that? Like, especially if your rhetoric is so hardline anti-Israel with no question, with no kind of like ever looking at the other side of it. I don't know, dude. I just feel like this is a bit of cope. I think it's inevitable. I think you can't... I don't know. Jews rock. Anyway, you know my position on anti-Semitism. I think Jews rock. But yeah, I just think that there's like, especially when you look at the way that Ethan Klein was treated. Ethan Klein was more than fair in the whole situation. Despite having ties in Israel, he is always like a pro-Palestine perspective. His whole point originally was, hey, can we not immediately jump on like dismissing the murder of civilians after the terrorist attack on October 7th? That was it. That was the take that caused all of this drama in the first place. And then he got pushback from people that said he was a Zionist for saying that. And then it just caused this spiral where he was just going like, guys, all I'm saying is I'm with you, free Palestine, all this stuff, but these are civilians that are dead. No such thing as a bloody Israeli civilian, all this stuff. Anyway, so broadly speaking, I think that Ethan was kind of fucked over in all of this. I think he was treated badly. I think this mingling of communities caused all these people to come in who were calling him a Zionist, were calling him all these names, even though he had a fairly moderate position on the whole thing. But yeah, in any case, it's like, I don't think Hasan is able to discern that in a meaningful way because he's so virulently got a perspective on the kind of conflict.
That's it. The way I saw Ethan back then and the way I still see Ethan is like, I think he's a passionate guy who sometimes has a capacity to fucking, you know, fly off the handle a little bit. That's why he's got the button, right? And that in the heated moment, he says a bunch of stuff and he will sometimes even repeat these things, but ultimately as far as I can tell, his heart is in the right place. Like when he said you're fostering a community of anti-Semites, yeah, I don't agree with that. Like I think that's I mean, it's hurtful.
Right. But his dude, this is like a cop-out. To be fair, I have not paid attention to the Israel-Palestine stuff for fucking months and months and months. But I remember when I was covering some of this leftover stuff before and I was talking a bit more about it, Hasan's coverage was like unhinged. You know, he was making all these insane claims and like going super hard and not really, you know, giving a kind of moderate perspective at any point. And it's fine if you've got a very like hardline free Palestine perspective and you're very critical of Israel, but it just seems absurd to me that at no point would you at any stage go, okay, well in this case, you know, I do think there's an argument to look at where you'd be more critical of Palestine or Hamas or whatever in this situation. It was always one tone. It was always the same. It was always Israel bad, Israel bad, Israel bad. And I think when that's the message that you're putting out, you inevitably end up having people come in that think, maybe some people that do have a more moderate take and want to hear that, or people that are just like, oh, Israel bad, great, let me tell you all about how Jews running. Okay, I need to be careful what I say, but you know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like this is a cop-out, and I do think that, you know, what Ethan experienced is a product of this issue, is a product of this kind of narrative leading to loads of people of one mind joining the community, some of those having, like, egregious views.
It is. It's completely untrue, and it sucks to hear, but it is what it is, you know?
And it's like full. The workers should get a % of your earnings, essentially, a percentage of their production. I don't agree with that. You're watching a capitalist pig deal with it. You guys are all like radical communists. There's that many radical communists.
They're not radical communists. Not everybody that's anti-capitalist is a communist.
It is kind of a radical take, that being.
So this is like, I think this should be a pretty good indication of like Ethan's community, at least like those who are chatting in his chat, because it's not like I was watching him during this, or it's not like I was streaming during the, I mean, it's not like I wasn't streaming during this. Like I was probably doing, at the same time as this was happening, I was probably streaming my own shit. You know what I mean? Like these are his own fans, right? Like these are my point is there's a lot of people who don't agree with Ethan on certain issues that still enjoy his content, and that's perfectly valid, you know.
Right.
Yes, you were, and people.
Dude, it feels like Hasan has got like a pack of rabid dogs that hunt down Jews that he's trying to hold back in saying this. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's being so tactful and being cautious, careful, trying to just step through it gently. Don't want to say anything too crazy. And it's like, I don't know, dude. He must see it. He must see. I mean, I see it with my community. When I talk about like stuff to do with the UK and rightoids, I get a bunch of people that freak the fuck out and get really annoyed at me. I mean, one person left my stream. One person left my stream because I was saying what I can't remember what I said. It was a bit crazy, to be fair, but it's like you see it, you see that dynamic, and it's like you've got to recognize that, you know, if you have a certain thing, a certain line of argument or something, you're going to end up with more of those people coming through the door, and some of those people might be more extreme than you want to be. I mean, for God's sake, Anglo Pigeon was possibly arrested under terror offences or something. And, you know, that is undoubtedly a product of me giving some points which lean more to the right to some people. You know, talking about some of my issues with how areas change and stuff. People will hear that and they'll think, oh, this guy's based. But then it turns out I'm a Labour voting fucking whatever. And that causes a friction, you know? But I guess that's the difference too. For me, I feel like there is a friction, and I do speak about like criticisms of rightoids and stuff. And there's a friction there, and that gives the message even maybe that some people are like, okay, this guy's too soy for me, and they leave. But there's never that friction that happens with Hasan, because it's so constantly Israel bad, Israel bad, Israel bad, Israel bad, Israel bad. You don't get that friction of like, oh, but hang on a minute, there's another way of looking at this. So, you know, you just end up with these people packing in. Before you know it, you got people that are just, you know, obsessed with this concept of Zionism and are looking for it everywhere, you know?
People were timed out. Yeah, I'm sure. Because usually what we do is like when people are like, Ethan's talking about socialism or whatever, right? Like, I'm sure people were probably coming here to get me to like cover it or whatever. And I was like, not really inclined to do so because I was probably doing some other shit. That was actually a big part. There was a lot of people back in the day that would be like cross-pollinating both streams, where they'd be like watching Ethan and then would come in here to be like, oh, Ethan's talking about this, like cover it now. And I was like, no, I don't, I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm like talking about the news or some other boring shit.
Okay, I will agree with Hasan on that. That shit is so fucking gay. People that do that should be taken out back and, you know, yes, drama frogs. That's what we call them. Drama frog, hopping around. They hear something on one stream and go to, oh, look, these people are saying something that you're going to disagree with. Fuck off. Shut up. Go away. Insufferable. Anyway, other than that, yeah, I think there's a lot of cope in that clip. But, you know, from what I understand, I feel like, you know, this is Hasan's approach. He's trying to take a softly catchy monkey situation. He doesn't want to cause a big beef. He doesn't want to cause a big drama. He's, you know, offering some soft criticism, but he's playing it very tactfully. So maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong about this, but I don't think you're going to see the big blow up that would create the best content out of this. Because it seems like Hasan is taking a very tactful approach to this one. Anyway, Ethan did elaborate on his stream about this, so let's have a look and see what he had to say. Let's have a little look.
Well, it's already 4:06. We started a little late.
I want to talk about my beef with Bin Laden.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I made the brave assertion on Instagram, and again, this stems from these TikTok people who are like being like simping for Bin Laden because he was anti-American and failed to read the rest of his manifesto.
Also, wait, I'm just thinking of more things about the Hasan thing, right? He's like, guys, I just thought of someone else. He's like, guys, I don't support anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is bad. Who was that? Who was that person he brought on that turned out to be like a Houthi terrorist or pirate or something? And he was asking him questions about One Piece. It's like, dude, he wants to act like he's totally against certain concepts, but then he brings on a Houthi pirate, and the Houthis are like super anti-Semitic and stuff like that. So it's like there's even more you could talk about that he's done, which would further, promote more people that have got a certain negative perspective of Jewish people joining his community. And he just kind of doesn't really get to that. And he's like, yeah, I don't support anti-Semitism. Meanwhile, he brings on someone who is probably the biggest anti-Semite that you could imagine and doesn't ask them any pressing questions about it and just gives them a fucking Homelander interview. What message is that sending out? What message are you sending out if you're bringing on an extremist whose fundamental beliefs are rooted in anti-Semitism and don't ask any pressing questions about it and ask them about fucking One Piece? Dude, it's like, bro... It's like so delusional to act like he's so firmly against anti-Semitism, but yet he does behavior which is only going to bring more people in of that perspective, but never question that or query that or push back against those kind of ideas ever, in terms of like anti-Israel and the Houthi stuff and things like that. It's just America bad. Come on in, let's go.
In which he said specifically, the reason I did this attack is because you're all gay Jews who aren't Muslims doing Sharia law, and also you give loans. You loan with interest.
There's a surprising amount of usury talk in that letter.
They really don't. They really not down with the usury.
Yeah.
So they can get.
In Christianity is supposed to be against it too, but they've just kind of
they don't care.
They
about
don't take it that seriously anymore.
So you're supposed to lend money without interest?
Yeah, you're not supposed to charge interest.
Well, how are you going to do that? Who's going to do that?
See, this is a thing. Ethan can't wrap his head around that one.
You know who wrote? You know who wrote?
You know what? I'm not going to say.
The Jews.
That's what a Jew would say.
Jews wouldn't loan money for no interest.
Yeah, I mean, this is now a pretty antiquated point of view. Obviously, the entire global financial system is based off of exchanging money.
You know what you call giving people money without interest?
A gift?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not getting that money back.
Right. Yeah, in the Bible, it says that it's immoral to charge people interest. If they need money, you should just lend it to them.
Clearly, whoever wrote the Bible was broke as fuck.
I said on the show, I famously pointed out on the show once that Jesus was broke. I dunked on his ass.
You what? You ate him all the way up.
What a fuck? Do people know that?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
So yeah, I took this brave stance. I saw this tweet, and it had, and this moment, it got even more, but it had 160,000 likes, 9 million views. So there's a lot of people on Twitter who are like, yeah, this guy's onto something. Do Americans actually know why bin Laden did all that? Or do they believe he hated that they can vote or something? And what's interesting to me is that when I actually read his writings and learned about it, it occurred to me that, like, holy shit, that is kind of why he hates us. Which I think at the time, it seemed like so stupid to me. Like, oh, they hate us for our freedoms. Like, what does it mean? But he says it right in his fucking thing, and I'll show that to you. I said,
well, I mean, I've not actually read Osama bin Laden's writings. Okay, right? But I think that's like a very, like, it's passable in a casual conversation. But I would guess that the issue is, in terms of hating your freedoms, it's more so that I would presume that Osama bin Laden thinks that you should be following Islamist, like, Sharia law. And that's the problem. You're a degenerate because you're not following the Islamic Sharia way of life. Right? That I think is the more meat on the bone way of looking at it, right? It's not like fucking Osama is looking at the Senate and like, oh my god, they've got a fucking Senate, that's so bad. It's to do with his, it's like what what that demonstrates that it lacks from his perspective, which is this hardline Sharia Islamist extremist interpretation of his, religious political beliefs. But anyway, I've not read it. Right, I've not read it, so I'm not 100%, but that would be my guess as to actually what the issue is from old Osama's perspective.
Did quite literally hate Americans because they could vote and had freedoms. He specifically states in his writings the reasons: homosexuality, lack of Sharia law, drug use, lending of money, and letting Jews run the country, or the world, frankly. Please read his writings before regurgitating tanky talking points and running defense for a mass-murdering, homophobic, anti-Semitic piece of shit. Fuck Bin Laden, anyone trying to rewrite history. Well, can you imagine? People started lining up to die on this hill of defending Bin Laden. I continued, by the way. So I wanted to provide some excerpts from his letter. He said, "What are we calling you to do? What do we want from you?" He goes on to express the kind of conservative moral panic and righteousness that it's hard to believe a TikTok or whatever sport. That's true. We call on you to be a people of manners, principles, honor, and purity, to reject the immoral.
Yes, the TikTokers last year? They were reading it and like, this guy's actually got some good ideas based.
Acts of fornication, homosexuality, intoxicants, gambling, and trading with interest.
Fuck, dude. A lot of my favorite things.
Dude, yeah. You are the worst civilization witnessed by the history of mankind. And then here's another one, just again. He wrote a lot more, and it's all about, most of it is like shit like this. The first thing that we are calling you to do is to, sorry, let me reread that. The first thing that we are calling you to is Islam. Complete submission.
Yes, see, this is what I was saying, guys. This is what I was talking about. This is exactly what I was saying. It's because you're not following his view. Yes. Based. I understand Bin Laden without even reading his letter, okay? Me and him are like that, okay?
To Islamism, and of the discarding of all the opinions, orders, theories, religions which contradict with the religion. Bin Laden later railed against the U.S. Constitution, lamenting, "You are the nation who, rather than..."
Convention I bring to you, David Duke. I stand against bigotry, woman with turban, man with turban.
Thank you for the super chat.
Ruled by the Sharia of Allah and its constitution.
Yeah, that's another good point as well, right? It's like, there's Wahhabism. That's, I think, what Saudi Arabia has. Then there's Salafi Islamism. It's like they can't even agree with each other on what the extremist Islamist Sharia perspective should be. They got all these different fucking offshoots, right? And in fact, in the Middle East, some of the different sects fight with each other. Right? Oh, is it the same thing? Is Salafi Wahhabism? They've even got different names for the same thing, apparently. No, I thought Wahhabism is Saudi, and whatever they're describing here was like what like Al-Qaeda followed, wasn't it? Bro, I'm a bit lost. Wasabi Islam. Wasabi Islam. Also, the other thing as well, this is a bit hypocritical, as I just fucked it up as well. But I don't know how true this is. This is like an old anti-George Bush type meme, right? Okay. But apparently George Bush didn't understand these differences before the invasion of Iraq. That is like an old school, like liberal anti-George Bush meme. But I read that somewhere one time in some book or something. I can't.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Muslim extremists have a lot in common with Nazi groups, yet the far left shields for them kinda weird to think about.
Thank you for the super chat.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Hasan, America deserved 9/11. Biker collected this type of community. What a shocker. Smiley face. Smiley face. YouTube wouldn't let me send this with the numbers in the phrase LOL.
Thank you for the $10. I don't think that's true, and I hate Bush. Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, I'm trying to highlight that. I don't know how true that is, but But I think there is like a fundamental criticism there that there was an action that was taken, and I think there was a lack of understanding. As much as American intelligence is fantastic, okay, maybe not the WMD shit, but anyway, there was a kind of like, I think a lack of understanding of just how destructive it would be to like oust Saddam Hussein, you know, and lo and behold, the region has been mired with difficulty and problems and unrest for fucking ever since the Iraq War, you know. Yeah, it was almost like, right, let's oust Saddam. Right, we got Saddam out. What now? Well, let's just do some democracy, guys. Let's do some of that liberal democracy that we love so much. And then immediately the country devolves into various different sects of fucking Islam fighting with each other and at each other's throats and shit like that. So yeah, it was you know, very complicated situation. I just think it's very, regardless of anything else, say what you want about America, say what you want about how they fucked up and whatever, right? You do not whitewash bin Laden, because bin Laden was someone that was an opportunist that took advantage of this situation to further his own political and religious goals. He's not some good dude because he said America bad and did, you know, whatever. It was an opportunistic thing for his own power, whatever, you know? But people whitewash him and go, oh, he said a couple of good things, though. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, he did that because he was capitalizing on the situation to benefit himself.
Laws, choose to invent your own laws and will as you desire. I mean, you know,
democracy.
That you know, it's worth. Let's not oversimplify things to the point where Osama bin Laden's the good guy. I mean, and as a Jewish person, I have a hard time just like accepting the fact that a guy who believed that like all Jews are evil.
I agree that there was destruction on an unprecedented, well, maybe not unprecedented, but a crazy scale of civilian life in like the Iraq War, and I think it's terrible.
Okay, that's wonderful.
But
how do I make money off depressed people?
The intent matters when you're analysing this, right?
Problems always.
Thank you for the super chats. The intent does matter. You know? It's the difference between collateral damage, which is still bad, civilians dying is bad, and the people that in one instance are collateral damage, in another are the target of your attack, right? Yeah? Dude, this is so gay. It's all about politics. This is such a gay drama. I wish that Hasan and fucking Ethan would have a big fight so I could talk about that, but it's just, oh, it's all politics shit.
And run the world, right? That this is like a base to guy. You know, I'm not just... But anyway, whatever. So I was like, nobody's going to actually die on this hill. It just annoys me. But they did.
I mean, just as an American, you should have a problem with that.
You know, like on one hand, like I understand that America fucked with the middle.
Most of the civilians are killed by insurgents. Yeah, but then the problem becomes, why... Like, this is the complexity of it, right? So they're killed by insurgents. Would those civilians have died if Saddam was in power? And I'm not saying that it's right that Saddam's bad, okay? But it's a very complex situation, and that action leads to other eventualities that may not have happened had the invasion not happened in the first place. And it makes it very complicated to analyze this and have a good take on it that is completely without, you know, weakness of criticism or something, you know? It's like, bro, it's so complicated, and it's easy to try and, you know, simplify it out, sat here in the fucking in our gaming chairs or whatever. But dude, it's like crazy. But fundamentally, regardless of anything else, whatever you want to say about it, Osama bin Laden bad. There's no other analysis I think you can come to unless you are carrying water for Islamist extremists who would kill you in a heartbeat, you know?
Middle East a lot, and in a sense reaped what it sowed. But on the other hand, this guy is a terrorist who fucking hates Western democracy, liberal democracy, freedom, rights for people, and that is not what the fuck we're about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's wonderful. But how do
also as an Arab or a Muslim growing up after 9/11, like Osama bin Laden has always been like the idea of like evil in my mind. You know, for obvious reasons, like a lot of Americans, but also because what he did to our people, like and how people look at us and all the abuse that we've gone through because of him. And Islam itself, just not gonna go into too deep about this, but Islam means peace, and Islam is all about, for religious people, is about you're supposed to share. You could share the knowledge, but never force someone by any means to become a Muslim.
Interesting.
So just
by any means?
Huh?
So not flying an airplane?
No, yeah, no, none of that.
Oh, okay.
See, dude, bro. Dude, okay. There's racists, there's anti-Islam bigots that are going to pop off about this, okay? But this is the fundamental problem that you have. Is AB can, you know, have this form of Islam that he agrees with and he supports and all this stuff. Fair enough. But undoubtedly, there's people who are a lot more committed, a lot more aggressive, a lot more violent, that don't think like that, and they do think it needs to be put on the world by force. So it's like, it's kind of like, you know, it's great to have that view, and in the West, a lot of, you know, there's many Muslims that have this view, and they're not looking to fucking turn you into a fucking Muslim supporting Sharia law or whatever, right? But there is groups of people that do want that, and, you know, very violently will implement that if given the chance. So I think the way in which it's like, you know, I feel like these takes, it's from a good place, and it's trying to say, hey, not all Muslims are like this, and I agree with that. But there's a level of like, it kind of gives cover to the ones that somewhat do want to do that. You know, they do want to put it on force. And I think you've got to be able to recognize that to them, their interpretation of Islam is valid and correct. And they'd probably call you an infidel and would kill you, you know?
That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Interesting they thought that would...
Okay, but dude. I do not think that there's another religion that has got as higher amount of followers that has this same issue. You know, I just don't think there is. Even Christianity, I don't think that there's quite the same level of that. I don't think you'd find as many people that would support the violent spread of Christianity. I just don't think that exists. There's some people, certainly, you know, that would support that, but not to the same level, not to the same scope. And I don't think there's countries that are being propped up by governments that believe that. Whereas you've got plenty of Islamist countries that believe in this kind of ideology. Exactly. It's like, yeah, I know you're probably fucking around, but it's like, yeah, the Crusades, that was a long time ago, and we don't do that anymore, right? At best, you've got like, what? People that want to do missionaries and go to some island and get shot with arrows or something, right? But you don't have that same force pushing it in the same way. And, you know, maybe in Africa, some Christian militias or something, I don't know. But, dude, it's just a cope. I think it's a cope to act like there's another kind of threat to the same level on this kind of plane as Islamists, particularly when they run governments, particularly when they've got like Al-Qaeda, these terrorist groups and so on, you know?
We're like, oh shit, well, you better, you know what? I'm seeing these guys are onto something after like 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. This cheese is spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to extend a little bit of grace to some of these people that, you know, I'm assuming have not...
Because here's the thing too, people say, oh, but what about the Americans invading Iraq? The Americans didn't invade Iraq to spread Christianity, right? Iraq is still a fucking Muslim country. People there are allowed to be Muslims, no trouble whatsoever. They were never made to be Christians, right? Like, this is the point, is the goal of it. The underpinning goal of what they're trying to do. Yeah, there's problems. Yeah, there's issues, right? I'm not pro-Iraq war. I was anti-Iraq war, okay? Right? But the intent isn't to convert all these people to your way of thinking, exactly. Not to make you a Muslim, whereas theirs is. If fucking an Islamist force invaded, they make you all Muslims, you know?
Actually taking the time to fully read his
manifesto.
I'm
not going to get arrested. I'm fine.
You know, there are parts of it where he's critiquing, you know, U.S. imperialism and messing with countries in the Middle East, like you said. And it can come across as like, okay, he's making some points here, but like you have to read on.
No, it's not the war is okay when our side does it. It's the outcome of total domination would be very different if it's the US fucking government doing it or if it's a fucking Islamist terrorist force doing it. How can you not understand this? The levels of like subjugation, forcing you into a certain religious path, the execution of fucking homosexuals or whatever. It would be totally different, dude.
Like you can't just read like you can't read the back cover on this one. Like you should delve a little bit deeper, because the further you read, the more it's like, oh, he's fucking insane. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Going down here.
Dude,
and
I'm not saying that USA is the good guys. Okay, that is a really reductive way of looking at it. It's not about saying, well, America's done nothing wrong. They have fucked up, and loads of people dying is bad. Do I really need to say that to you? The point is the intent is different, you know, from what people are trying to achieve with this, you know?
basically, that's all I was saying.
Anyway.
And I can't believe people actually got baited into defending Osama bin Laden, which I'm looking for. Where? Oh, God, Info Brennan, the lady. Oh, that's my dream video. Where's the first one of the comrade whatever?
I'll send you this album of your stories.
Thank you. Perfect. So the first thing I saw was this dude named Comrade Casey, whose response to, and again, I'm showing his literal words. Comrade Casey says, Ethan Klein has never heard of historical analysis. And I'm thinking, like, we can analyze it all we want. That's his literal words. Like, he's just like, I hate Jewish people and I want to kill people who have freedoms, who aren't following Sharia law all the time. And they're like, well, what did he really mean by that?
Yes, this is so
like,
true.
He said what he fucking meant. It's obnoxious, but this isn't actually the most obnoxious. Then comes everybody's favorite Hasan moderator, two-time rising star.
Uh-oh. We're in
Let's make
danger
it 3.
territory.
Frogan. I'm sorry, but the two-time rising star thing is so funny. Like, you get that once.
Are you sure she's 2 times?
Yes. I even fact-checked it. I even fact-checked it. She won back-to-back. Right, let's do a double fact-check.
I think she only won it once.
No. Hold on. Rising Star Award twice.
Oh, she was nominated.
So she won once and was nominated the next year.
Yeah.
So she didn't win twice. So, I mean, it's still funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess not as funny. Well, it's been long enough. Let's get her back on the ballot. She said, so here I am saying, actually, Osama bin Laden bad. And her response was, this motherfucker never shuts up. Oh, my God.
I mean, you could shut up yourself. Just saying, but like.
Well, every time I've gotten into it with her, she has started and to put herself in the middle of a charged conversation that I'm having. And then every time I say, okay, let's engage, then she's like, I can't believe he would focus on a smaller creator. It's like, listen, just stop talking shit. You know, this is the girl who was on in Hasan's Discord saying Ethan hates Arabs because I unfollowed her on Twitter. And just remember where this all started. I quietly unfollowed her on Twitter because I did not want any issues. She was posting stuff about October.
Bro, there's nothing racist about it. It's just facts, dude. You go and look at what fucking Islamists think and what they believe. It's just there. They say it out loud. They tell you exactly what they're thinking. By the way, Islamists, okay? I'm not talking about Islam. I'm not talking about all Muslims. Islamists. You know, the people that want to spread Islam as a political force. You know, the extremists, the people that believe in the extremist, like, movements within the Islam stuff. They tell you. They say it. They're like, yeah, I think that we should subjugate everyone to our belief system and you should have to follow what we believe and we should also implement Sharia law and all the extreme stuff that comes with. Yeah, that's what we do think. It's so crazy to me. It's like, that's like somehow racist. It's just there. I'm not even an expert on this shit. I don't know all about it. I've just read about this, particularly during my atheist phase, you know, all the extremist aspects of it. It's pretty fucking crazy stuff. And it's why it's so crazy to me when someone like Bin Laden gets whitewashed, because you're like, this dude doesn't give two fucks about you. He organized flying planes into buildings of your countrymen for a laugh. Because he thought it would be good, not like an accident, not like collateral damage. You know, it's why it's so frustrating, because yes, America bad, whatever, right? But it's like, dude, this is where it gets difficult, because America are fucked up in cases. But America are not going to fucking blow up a bunch of civilians on purpose. They're not going to be like, right, there's a house. We definitively know it's full of civilians. Let's blow it to pieces. That's not how it works. Yes, there's mistakes. Yes, there's fuck-ups. Yes, civilians die terribly. But it's not as a result of specific targeting of civilians, as far as I know. I mean, obviously, you know, who knows what's going to come out in the future. But generally speaking, yes, it's not the same mentality. It's not the same, you know, operation perspective that they're doing.
About October 7th that I thought was distasteful and was upsetting to me. And so I silently unfollowed her. I don't know what's a better way to do than that. And from that, she started, you know, shitting and pissing and saying that I'm Islamophobic, that I hate Arabs.
Bro, okay, people like this are getting banned. It's not an L take. That's not an L take. It's not an L take to say that the American military is not operating on the basis that they're trying to kill civilians. That's not an L take. You just got fucking America bad brain rot, and you think that the military is just there like, oh, let's bomb that house full of civilians to make people feel a bit, to shit them up a bit. That's not how it works.
And that, all this kinds of stuff. And it's like, okay, well, let me say something about that. So, of course, I had to respond here. And I said...
No, wrong! Waco is not an example. You're wrong about this. You're totally and utterly wrong about this, okay? The ATF fucked up massively, okay? Right? The FBI made mistakes too. But the intent was not to kill the Branch Davidians. The intent was not to kill them. You can say they really fucked it up and it was bad, but they didn't pump CS gas into their building with the thought of, we're going to kill all these people. It was, if we pump CS gas in, that's going to force them to come out, and we want to bring a stop to this. Yes, they fucked up. Yes, the Branch Davidians then set a fire. That is fucking not, as far as I'm concerned, you're a retard if you dispute that. The Branch Davidians set a fire, which then killed them. Do the FBI bear some brunt of the responsibility, right? Okay, no, I'm not... You haven't researched Waco. I've not watched your crackpot documentaries about it, no. Made by some fucking moron that hates the federal government, that has put together some fucking complete nonsense to be like, oh yeah, well clearly the FBI did it. No, you're wrong. You're absolutely fucking wrong if you think the FBI wanted to kill the Branch Davidians. That's not true. You're wrong. You're wrong about that. You've watched too many kooky documentaries.
Oh, here's what I said. I said, tankies falling over themselves to defend Osama bin Laden should tell you all you need to know about their movement. And you really do. It's like you can like give historical analysis, but this guy is literally saying like, wow, are you dumb that he hated us for our freedoms?
Come on, bro, oceans away. Sorry, were you at the Branch Davidian compound when it happened? Were you there? Were you a witness? What difference does it make if I'm in a different country? How does that make any difference whatsoever? Unless you were somehow directly knowledgeable because you were there. We can look at the same shit. I just happen to look at the stuff that's correct. You look at the stuff that is made by some fucking moron who doesn't know what they're talking about but just wants to stitch together a narrative that paints the federal government as way more evil than it is.
And it's like, well, he did. And other things. Mm-hmm. So what the fuck do you mean? Anyway, here is Frogan telling me to shut up when don't shut your mouth when you're criticizing Osama bin Laden. I said, this is a Hasan mod telling me, a Jewish man, to shut the fuck up because I dare to say Osama bin Laden was bad and hated Jews. Please understand this is why Leftovers ended and that her voice is not fringed within his community. And yeah, I mean, I've never come out and said it explicitly, but it is kind of, I think I have more or less, but like, yeah, I mean, his community is the reason that I no longer wanted to do the show. It was not all of it, but like a large contingency of it was really, in my opinion, not something I wanted to be involved in.
The dialogue that they were having about us was pretty wild.
It was, in my opinion, not something I wanted to be involved in, and not something I certainly wanted to have on my channel and promote and have people entering a community that says such things about me. You know what I mean? Like, now I don't believe Hasan has these views, but or at least he doesn't voice these views. I don't believe he does. He's more thoughtful. But a lot of people, for some reason, in his community, do have these views, and I continued on here.
See, this is the thing: is like, I think to focus in on Frogan is a mistake. I don't think that Hasan is directly responsible for what Frogan does and doesn't do. The problem is that Hasan has cultivated an atmosphere, particularly with stuff like bringing the Houthi guy on and stuff like that. That is the problem. It's the way that he delivers his takes and perspectives. I mean, make fun of Frogan, sure, but I don't think that it's like, oh, it's almost like acting like Hasan is a puppet for Frogan. I don't really think that that's fair. I don't think you can directly say, well, Frogan is doing this. No, it's Hasan's way of doing analysis and talking about stuff that invites people in and creates these issues.
And again, as a Jewish man in a time of rising anti-Semitism, like, who the fuck are these people to tell me what is and isn't anti-Semitic and what I should and shouldn't be offended by? Like, imagine lecturing any other minority group on like what is and isn't okay. And this whole Zionism thing is just so fucked up. It's basically a purity test on Jews. You got to be, are you a good...
Hey, Sonzo. Chud, I literally watched a video on Waco by All Fed 1776 that proved the FBI's evil and cooked all those people for a satanic ritual. Dude, yes, that's what I'm talking about, dude. The kinds of people, bro, it's the kinds of people that will cheer on or do apologia for Timothy McVeigh and be like, oh, well, Timothy McVeigh, he was just angry and he was speaking like, despite the fact he murdered children with his bomb. Right? It's the same kinds of people that will have that complete inconsistency to suck off Timothy McVeigh while acting like the FBI when Timothy McVeigh intentionally killed children. Okay,
Jew or a bad Jew?
Move on.
So, in what world is that normal? To be like, sorry, no Zionists, death to Zionists. So, you know, you go to all these campuses, no Zionists allowed. So they're saying, are you a good Jew or are you a bad Jew? That's the conversation. And again, I emphasize this because I don't think people appreciate it, but 90% of the world's Jews would be considered Zionist. And I think that the whole Zionist thing is like again, not all Zionists are anti-Semitic, but a lot of anti-Semites are using this Zionism cover as like as a easy backdoor to being like deeply anti-Semitic.
Yes, this is true.
Because again, you're doing a purity check on me saying, are you the good Jew or the bad Jew? And that's just fucking insane. You can't do that to anyone else. And again, it's 90% that part of the problem.
Also, I don't know if you guys have noticed this also, but there are these lefty Jews now, right? And it certainly feels like they've got to do this game where they're like, yeah, guys, oh, I'm one of the good ones. Yeah, oh, Israel, terrible business. Yep, hate them, right? It's like a pick-me type mentality where it's like, it feels like they've kind of got to go overboard with it. That's certainly the perception that I get from like seeing some stuff. And I'm like, you're going a bit hard there. Are you trying to, are you trying to count for something maybe? I don't know. Maybe you're worried that your mates are going to look at you and go, well, you're Jewish, but fortunately you've criticized Israel enough, so you're one of the good ones.
Again, is they convincing people that
Bro, great example. Brad Taste in Music. Yes. Great example of what I pulled from chat. Brad Taste in Music did this, talking about how, his family was killed by Hamas or something. And he's like fucking there like, yeah, well, Israel bad. Am I right, guys? It's like, dude, you don't have to like be a complete Israel shill, obviously, but surely you must feel a bit weird about the fact that you're so hard on the other side, and it does feel like you're kind of accounting for the fact that it certainly feels that way to me. That's all I'm saying.
Zionism is not the majority of Jewish people, and that it's some fringe belief and stuff. But in actuality, it's 90% of Jews who support Israel. And if they were overtly hating...
Dude, okay, this is quite funny. British streamer tells me to trust my institutions more. What's next? Join a temple and raise money for Ukraine. You can choose to trust institutions to whatever level you desire. It doesn't change the fact that your conspiratard thinking about Waco is wrong. That's it.
90% of an ethnic group, that would make them racist. So it's kind of like a mind trick to allow them to be racist without having to be racist. And again,
it's also the way the word is being used. I don't feel like
it's being deployed like a slur. Yeah.
If somebody says that to me,
I get called that all the time.
It feels like they are cursing me, and it feels like a bad word.
Oh, it is. They use it like that. And again, I'm a Jew who is like, by any means, certainly, if I am Zionist, the least Zionist of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I get called a Zionist up and down the fucking internet all day, every day, by Nick Fuentes people, by Sneeko people, and by Hasan people. You know? And like...
Oh, that's just made me think. Oh, he had that interaction with... I think I looked at that. They had some sort of argument with the Sneeko fan. Sneeko is currently in the midst of getting called a leftoid because obviously he's Haitian descent. And so all this talk about Haiti, he's having to push back against it, and people are calling him soy for pushing back on the righties that are saying they're all eating cats. That's rough, dude. That is rough.
I shouldn't have to fucking take it. You know, we were taught that being a racist for the last 2 decades, that being a racist is the worst thing you can be.
Right.
And I happen to agree that it's a very bad thing to be. However, when it comes to Jews, it's like, oh, not you though. You're a Zionist. Also, Zionism, again, when I say Zionism, it's not about Middle East domination. It's not about racism. It's not about apartheid. It literally just means that like Jewish people having a country. That's all it means. Everything else is extra. Everything happening in the West Bank and Gaza is extra. It's just to do with Jews wanting to have a homeland. It was galvanized specifically after World War II when all the surviving Jews said, like, let's not fucking do that again. And they said, let's get a country so we don't have to rely on other countries to protect us and to, like, tolerate us because, you know, as we know, the history of the Jewish people is just like expulsion after expulsion and then into Holocaust. And so they said it came from this desire. It predates World War II, but it was galvanized afterwards to say, like, we should get a country so we don't have to do this anymore. That's it. That's all it is. And read the polls. I think people need to reckon with this fact that 90% of Jewish people think that the state of Israel is important to their identity.
Okay, that's
or that
wonderful.
Means something to
But how
them.
do I make
Again,
money
all the
off
other bad
oppressed
shit.
When I saw you the other day and you told me white lives matter, don't let them erase us, and gave me the Roman salute, what did you mean by that?
I was just being ironic. Thank you for the super chats. Just a bit of irony for you.
Like, you know, the warmongering, war cabinet, Netanyahu.
The point Ethan is making is that people put all of this onus and this idea on this, like, what does Zionist mean? And they act like it's some sort of insane concept. And all Ethan is saying is that, you know, fundamentally, it just comes down to wanting a country for the J-boys, right? Like, that's the point Ethan is making. It's not this big thing that you're making it out to be. It's like a very simple concept, but you're using it in this kind of extreme way to paint Zionism as some sort of extreme belief that a Jewish person has. Now, within that, obviously, there's some people that will be Zionists that are like Netanyahu, you know, pushing out, wanting the, you know, I don't know enough about it to comment on it at length, but, you know, very aggressive in the way that they think it should be done. And then you got people that would be softer and would say, well, yeah, we want to have a country, but also we don't want to fuck over these Palestinian people, so let's live in peace and have a two-state solution or whatever, right? It's like there's levels to this, and some people can be, very moderate in their perspective. Others are very extreme, like any political belief, any ideology. Just like the Muslims we were talking about. You've got more moderate Muslims, you've got more extremist Muslims, and people want to collapse it all into one because that makes it very easy to see the world if it's that simple, doesn't it? Right? It's like, well, you're a Zionist, and that's it. That's all I need to know. Well, no, there's much more complexity than that to truly understand, what someone actually thinks about the world.
Fucking all the checkpoints in the West Bank and all the war happening in Gaza and all this types of shit is extra. It's got nothing to do with Zionism. This is just a bad government doing bad things.
Right.
Yeah. That's so, it's frustrating and it's hurtful to see people who are, and by the way, the thing with Frogan too is like, she was apparently a big fan of the show for years since we started doing Leftovers. And I've never hid my views. Like I'm married an Israeli. I lived in Israel. So I don't know what all of a sudden, like, I'm a Zionist all of a sudden. It's like, well, I don't know. But imagine saying to someone who is like, Osama bin Laden bad, actually. This motherfucker never shuts up. Somebody said, and
yeah, exactly.
Right. I can't remember who, but I'd like to give you credit that it's like when the quartering.
Oh my God, I'm not shitting you. That was in my head. That was literally in my head. The quartering Hitler thing. That was in my fucking head, and he said it.
Tweeted. He has this famous quote tweet where he goes, someone said like Hitler is bad, and then he quote tweeted it and said like, there we go, yikes.
Yes.
It's like Osama bin Laden bad. Frogan's like, yikes. Why even stick your neck out there for Osama bin Laden?
Do you know what it is, right? I think the problem is it gets to a point where it becomes very like an obvious expression of sentiment, right? Like Hitler bad, Hitler bad, Hitler bad, right? And so for a while, it's like, okay, we get it. Yes, Hitler bad, right? But now there's people on X that are saying Hitler may be good, ? And it's like, it becomes a conversation then, doesn't it? You're not just saying Hitler bad is like a sort of obvious expression of sentiment. You're actually disagreeing with someone that's presenting the opposite. And it's the same with bin Laden. It's like, you shouldn't need to say bin Laden bad, but when people are genuinely proposing, well, maybe he's good. Maybe he has some good ideas. No, bin Laden is bad. It becomes a disagreement rather than just reinforcing an obvious sentiment that everyone agrees with, because people clearly don't all agree with this.
So I responded to the inevitable anger. Let me say I give zero fucks about Frogan's crocodile tears. I'm not saying she actually cried, by the way. I saw people saying, did she actually cry? I don't know. I was just talking.
Speak
just
your
that
truth,
she complains
King.
when I talk about her, that I'm a big creator and I shouldn't talk about small creators. She has inserted herself in the middle of my conversations many times and cries when I respond to her. She's an official representative of Hasan's community, and the pressure should be on her to behave better and not make his entire community look bad. And I also blame Hasan for continually hand-waving her horrific behavior to the point that it feels to me like an endorsement. And this is the issue. And fuck Osama bin Laden and this life and the next. Yeah.
Okay. I concur.
That's my problem. Frogan's been doing this shit, and people like her. The whole mod team, from what I've seen, or most of them, are very much this. I mean, and, it makes Hasan look bad. It makes me, as his friend, feel bad. And it makes me feel like he's endorsing their opinions. It's one thing to tell me in private, like, just so you know, like she's just this way, and I know that she doesn't mean it, and all this kinds of stuff. But like, it's another thing to publicly continue to platform her and also not to address.
I mean, does Hasan platform her? I feel like this is over egging the pudding. Okay, like, yeah, Frogan's a retard and whatever, but to me, Frogan is the symptom of an issue broader than this, which is Hasan's whole approach is what causes this problem.
A massive portion of your audience that is just straight up fucking anti-Semitic. And not all. Obviously, like, the vast majority of them are cool. And a lot of people watch both of our shows, and that's cool and good. But But there is a lot of people in his audience, and I don't believe he's willing to reckon with this, that are anti-Semitic. They are. Or just like overly hateful even. Not even anti-Semitic, just like overly hateful, you know?
Oh, does he? Okay. Well, I didn't know that. If he promotes a channel and stuff, sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, sure. I didn't know that part. I thought I honestly don't know what their relationship is. My understanding was that she was like a streamer that gets like, you know, a sort of fairly unremarkable amount of views, and she is like constantly wanting his attention and he's not interested. I mean, if he's, you know, promoting her, I mean, that is somewhat underlining her ideas. Yeah. I don't really care. The mod, dude, bro, who cares about mods? Bro, they're Jannies. They do it for free, okay? I don't care about fucking mods, right? I'm talking about, like, Hasan saying, oh, yeah, you should go and watch Frogan. Frogan's based, da-da-da-da, right? That is more what I'm interested in terms of propping Frogan up.
So that's what I mean here, to call out Hasan a little bit, is that as a friend of his, I feel like absolutely fucking worthless to the way he's running his community. And I just think, like, if one of our mods was like shit talking one of my friends, like, they would not be working with us. You know what I mean? If like one of our, if Avery, God bless his soul, and he's the sweetest guy ever and would never do anything, but like if he started tweeting with like calling Tana like a skank and a slut or something, I mean, I'm being hyperbolic. But you think that we would be cool with that? That I would let him continue to be a moderator and to continue to have lead conversations in our Discord and our chats? Fuck that. Hell no.
I mean, that sounds kind of based. Come on, whoever this guy is, come on over. We'll have you here, okay? Because that's based.
You know, no. So I
don't
say
even know who they're
this
talking
with
about,
great
to be honest.
regret, and I hate to be controversial on this Friday, but fuck Osama bin Laden.
Wow.
I know it's a brave stance to take, and I hate to have to be the one to say it, but fuck Osama bin Laden. Oh, I saw Frogan's responses like, I never said I support Osama bin Laden. It's like, well, what did you mean then? She said the same thing before when she was like, what did you think resistance looked like, and referring to October 7th? And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? She goes, I wasn't saying that they're the good guys. Well, what do you mean?
What does it mean when you tell Ethan to shut up?
When I'm saying Osama bad. This mother, I mean, listen, if you don't know what your words mean, then you need to be probably not entering this conversation. If you can't choose your words good enough, because there's no other reasonable way to interpret that, in my opinion. You know, and that's basically my explanation. I got tilted. I've been upset about all the anti-Semitism that I'm seeing. I mean, listen, it's so commonplace. It's everywhere on the internet. I've never seen it like this in my lifetime. It's nonstop. This guy's running up on me. I mean, essentially, again, calling us Zionists, saying I look like a rapist and that I'm ugly.
I mean, poor Brad Taste had to apologize for taking a picture with us.
Right.
Yes, true.
Right. Having a whole
now we're talking. Now I'm interested. Let's go.
Storm in his life ever since, I feel like.
By the way, speaking of Brad, poor Brad.
Yeah.
His life.
By the way, Brad Taste in Music did that because he listened to a bunch of fucking Palestine watermelon retards on Twitter. He could have just ignored that and he'd have been fine. It was literally I'm going to put Palestine in my Twitter bio. Oh, like, you could just ignore those people and nothing would happen. Tell them to get fucked.
Life has fallen apart ever since he met me. Did you think about that? All this terrible stuff happening is
hopefully it takes
Patrick Amsterdam. Yo, that's actually a really good point. Okay, this is a great point. I hadn't actually thought of it this way. Would Hasan keep her if she endorsed and agreed with Trump? Probably not. Oh, good one. That's actually unironically a good one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, damn. That's a good point. Well done.
Break and
Brad.
takes,
I concur.
I don't know, takes good care of himself.
Let's get him into Brad the Bull. Let's build him up.
Brad the Bull.
Yeah, so I know a lot of y'all don't want to believe it and you don't want to hear it, but we don't let other people just sit and take like racism and disgusting shit being said about them. And so, you know, I'm not going to sit here and take it about myself. And I've never in my life had to like address anti-Semitism or anything like this.
You think that was a shit point? No, I think the point that's being made is that, you know, it's like, yeah, Hasan would get rid of Frogan in an instant if they were like a Trump supporter. So there's some level of permissiveness of their politics, even though they're more extreme, but they're extreme in kind of the right direction, right? That's the point.
I mean, like I've never seen it like this before, ever. And it's troubling, you know, and I don't talk about it all the time, and I don't plan to really talk about it at all, ever, unless it just like comes up like this. Because listen, Jews aren't the most, it's not like they're the most oppressed group. I mean, Jews
Yes, that would be the whites
in America enjoy a lot of freedom and respect within the culture. Some people said it's the golden age of Jews in America. And that's true. But I'm also seeing really concerning things that I feel is important to call out. And a lot of that stuff I'm seeing fester in Hasan's community, starting with his mods, who are official representatives. Like the first thing is...
Here's a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the difference between Hasan having a friendship and being charitable with Frogan and Ethan being buddies with MAGA supporters who say extremely racist shit all the time?
Yo!
Well, they're not official representatives of my show.
Yeah.
I don't employ Steve Will Do It to moderate my chat and to lead conversations in my Discord.
Mhm.
And I don't endorse him. Like if Steve Will Do It says something racist,
debunking.
I'm going to say that was fucking racist, and it's got nothing to do with me.
We
Just
participated.
because I said hi to him once or sat at a poker table with him once.
Yeah, we
it's-
participated at the same event. That doesn't mean anything about us working together or Steve having any say about what kind of conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, you know, just don't do it on any political basis. You know, I don't know. It's like I don't know, dude. It's like, yeah, just don't have any politics in it. Just whatever. Go crazy. Go nuts. Go ballistic. I can understand Ethan being bothered by this. I do get it, right? And I think it's reasonable that he expresses this. And I think that because Hasan is taking a kind of hands-off approach to this and is being quite diplomatic, it's like he's trying to point out the areas that he feels that he can. Because Hasan is being, like, is his friend, right? Behind the scenes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, dude. It's just like, I just couldn't imagine not having someone, unless it's like, I don't know, they're like very like an extremist. Well, I guess here's the argument. Frogan is an extremist, right? That's it. That's the argument. I think the difference with someone like Frogan is they've got a very extremist point of view, and they kind of smuggle that in, and they also are doing it via the kind of mechanism of like criticizing Ethan, but Ethan is having to go at Osama bin Laden. So I think that is the line. I think having an extremist, that's the problem. You know? So yeah, on those lines, I think, sure.
is going to happen at our podcast.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and
the moderators are an extension of you. They're an extension of Ethan right now, where if there's something going on in the chat that we are not okay with, like somebody saying a slur, they're going to remove that.
Yeah, they represent the show. And it's not the first time, again, Frogan, this is time and time again, where he's allowing this to continue to happen. And I mean, just Hasan stayed friends with people like Aiden Ross and XQC. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the analogy is it's a different issue. I'm glad you asked because it's important to make that distinction. And if you have any questions, I'd love to field them thoughtfully and peacefully. But I hope that I've explained how very different those two things are. Also, Hasan is friends with Bradley, who's part of Nelk. So again, I don't criticize him for that.
And also, like, people keep saying it since we went on the poker events, but we did events together with other people. I'm not actually hanging out with them on my Fridays and on my weekends and, like,
we're not
chatting, you know, in my free time. There's a big difference.
We don't work together at official capacity.
Yeah, I just, you know, people have, I think there's kind of this criticism that, oh, you're just saying that. I genuinely, I'm not like an anti-Muslim person, and I've spoken to plenty of Muslims who are like totally chill. But then if I said to them, what do you think of Osama bin Laden? They would call them like unequivocally wrong, evil. And if I was criticizing Osama bin Laden, they wouldn't step in and go, don't you ever shut up, bro? Like, they'd be like, yeah, sure, you got a point there. So it's like the fact, and also other things that have happened, like after October 7th, what Frogan said, you know, all of this paints this picture, I think, of a more extremist perspective than I think, you know, people would give credit for. And then they would say, you're bad for calling that out. And it's like, no, listen to what Frogan says. And it's clear that it's not, I don't have loads of Muslim friends. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like, the idea that this is all Muslims is retarded, right? It's not the same. Like, not everyone has got the same view. And the idea that you would criticize someone if I'm going to go at bin Laden, just, I think, demonstrates where your kind of perspectives lie on this.
I can sit at a table with a MAGA supporter. Yes, we can sit at a table together.
And also, the other thing that complicates this further is the fact that, from what I understand, Hasan and Ethan are actually like friends, right? It's not just like internet shit. They've met and they've hung out and they've like done stuff together and shit. It's like clear that there's a relationship there that adds further complication to this whole situation, you know? So yeah, it's all, it's very it's a lot of personal stuff here.
Yeah, and again, the big difference is the endorsement, the official partnership. If there's other questions, I'd love to hear them, because I know people will have questions and I don't want people to make any assumptions about what I'm saying.
When are we gonna dance, love?
Nah.
Never.
When are we gonna dance, love? In
Right after the
Vegas
show.
next time?
Yeah, I'll dance in
and you?
Vegas. Yeah, fuck it.
Once we
Yeah,
hit,
also, sorry, Nate's got a really good point here. You're bringing up, like, MAGA people, like, what, Steve will do it, did they say? Like, we are worlds apart here, aren't we? Some guy that probably likes Trump because I think he's funny versus someone doing apology for Osama bin Laden.
Green will be dancing.
I'll be dancing if we hit green. That's
Bro,
absolutely
I'm
fucking
so
right.
greened. I'm so greened pill with you.
Hell yeah, bro. Will you hit the buffalo a little bit for me? Or no?
Is that video roulette?
It's just like a slot. I know it's pretty gnarly.
I'm following your lead.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I don't know if there's any other questions.
KETH, Los Angeles.
Thank you, Jack.
Casey is saying, I'm pretty sure Eli used the word bestie. I did, and it's called irony. Girl,
Yo, we're not obviously. I've been calling Stani my best friend.
do you guys
nonstop
like
'cause it's
not
so
watch us otherwise? Do you not know our sense of humor? Do you not know who I actually hang out with, which is basically only my husband and the kids? Like, we tell you everything about our life. I was joking. I was saying me and Bryce are basically besties now. That's a joke.
Clearly, she has not talked.
We're
to him
not besties. I don't
at
ever
all.
talk to him outside of the poker event.
I doubt you guys even follow each
I
other.
can't
on
believe I
social
even need to say that.
media. Yeah.
And it's an ongoing
You don't
thing.
though. I can't believe people. Is that a serious question? Like, you know. I
It
don't know.
is. I've seen it a lot since the poker thing. Yes.
But again, even if you were friends with Bryce, he's not an official representative of our community. So even if you were,
couldn't
which
be
you're not-
further from it.
Yeah. Sorry, love. You're saying something?
Oh, I was just saying that that's like a long inside joke that when someone does one good thing to us,
Yeah,
we're like,
I
oh,
flip.
besties.
I
Like,
become their best friend.
I hate to break character, but we do that all the time just for fun. Yeah.
I thought you were best friends.
Okay, stop. I'm getting a bit. There's too much. I've taken in too much political thoughts here. Show the animation of Ethan's wife as an IDF soldier. No, I literally cannot show that. I think that's against TOS. It depicts children getting shot.
Exactly.
I do love Steiny.
What the hell?
Anything else?
Let's see.
Is that it?
No other questions? Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Get me out of this.
I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, I think I'll go back and look at this Sneeko interaction. I guess we'll do that. Also, I think we'll do the Dr. Disrespect Willie Mack video today too. I guess it's just whatever this bit segment is now. Or is it? Oh, dude. Bro, it's like fucking an hour long, or is there a little short a bit earlier? Nah, that's too much, man. That's too much. It's like an hour. That's a lot. Did I watch the clip on stream? Maybe they show the clip here. We'll watch a bit of it and see. Watch a little bit and see how far we get.
So let me set.
No, it's not about ADHD. It's already 8:05, and I don't intend to stream much past 8 hours today. That's all. It's like, bro, it's like quite a long segment.
This up briefly. So yeah, me and Ela were going down. We had a little extra spare time, which never happens.
Yeah.
So we drove down to a rodeo just to walk around. We were with the dogs, which is actually nice because we never take them out with us because it's actually impossible to take care of 3 young kids and 2 dogs.
We used to before the kids, but yeah.
Shredder used to come everywhere with us, which I love that. But so we were able to go out and brought the dogs for a nice day. And I was napping, actually. Ela was driving. You guys know I talked about this. I have some kind of, I don't know what's the condition, but when I'm driving, I get super fucking tired, and it's scary. So Ela's taken over the driving duties for the most part.
You're the passenger princess.
I am. And by the way,
that's the main thing I want to talk about on this whole segment, by the way.
Israel alarmed the US about 9. Okay, bro. Let's chill out with that, first of all. And second of all, wasn't the problem that they did act on intel, but the intel was flawed? And there was testimony of one guy that I think the American intelligence apparatus took more seriously than they should have done, which led to a lot of the issues and claims that were made and da-da-da. I don't know about the Israel thing. I don't know, bro. That sounds a bit much.
Is the posture.
Sure. Yeah. I'll take anything on.
I'm not really concerned about the weirdo who approached you guys. Just the photo is very interesting.
Listen, I don't shy away from any controversy.
Yeah, they got one guy.
I'll talk about it.
Beta.
By the way, I did Steiny's podcast yesterday, and I was like so mega conscious about how I was sitting.
Just a bunch of mistakes, guys. Nothing to see here.
Bro is going to be like
snoozing.
Completely up front.
Yeah, I was kind of, well, I was trying to just sit up right and like totally proper, but I don't know why it looked like you could upskirt my fucking shorts.
Oh, they love that angle.
So I had to like tuck them in to make sure you couldn't see too high up.
Uh-oh.
Interesting. You gotta wear black underwear, then that doesn't happen. You can't see anything.
Guess I need to wear pants.
Okay. Oh, this is not relevant. Here we go.
Yes. So we're in Beverly Hills, trying to have a nice day, me and Ela and the dogs, and I've been sleeping, and we're just arriving, and we're at a red light, and I'm kind of dozy, and I sit up, and I look out the window, and there's some dude on the street who was like, "Oh, roll your window down," and I thought,
yeah, I thought we were being recognized.
I thought, oh, it's a fan who wants to say hi. And me being a man of the people, of course, I take every opportunity I can to
How gracious.
shake hands, to embrace, and to appreciate our lovely fans out there in the world. But this was not one of our fans, in fact.
In fact, Ethan will give you a $100 bill if you approach him in public.
That is not happening. I appreciate if you didn't spread such falsehoods. Certainly don't approach me for money. Oh. Although Dan has been known to give hand jobs.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. Just jerky off.
Oh, wow.
Let's just see which offer is better. So I was blitzed by this dude, and he immediately.
I have to drive like 6 hours next weekend. You're going to stream, Chud? Yes. Synthetic Teapot. I will be streaming, as I'm understanding it, next weekend. I'll be there for your big drive, okay?
His first question was, hey, why don't you like Sneeko? Yeah. And I was like, and so when I heard that, I perked up and I was like, oh, okay, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been around for too long to get caught off guard by these fucking clowns. And so I immediately perked up, understood what was happening, and just handled this dude like the fucking moron that he is. And he looked really dumb, I felt. Super rude, very dumb, and terrible. And I was like, man, I hope he really posts that video.
Yeah, that was the first thing we said to each other. It's like, hopefully he actually posts that.
But I was like, frankly, it's very unlikely he's going to post that because, like, who posts their L's? You know what I mean? Well, he did. And he is someone that posts his L's. In fact, every post of his is an L.
Kind of.
And my favorite thing is when these people come and they want to harass me or the crew or they want to show their face and say, hey, this is who I am, and I'm going to be fucking with you, talking shit. That's to me, I'm so happy. Because then I'm like, oh, thank you for showing me who the fuck you are. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at you, my friend. And then the spirit of that, let's take a look at Dating and Money 101. Here.
Oh my god, dude, wait, they found his stuff. Bro, that's crazy.
Here is the video he uploaded. Let's start there. Still up on his Instagram.
Oh, that's his account on Instagram.
Wouldn't it be? He's proud. He owned you, dude.
Apparently,
I just
he
saw
owned
this on
me.
Twitter.
And, by the way, this guy seems to be, his whole shtick is harassing tourists on Rodeo.
Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah, a bunch of celebrities on his
Yeah,
page.
I just saw it on Twitter and I presumed it was just like, you know, a video got out somewhere, I bet it got spread, but no, they actually found his account that he posted it from.
Which is epic.
It's so annoying, by the way. Like, lately I see that all the time there. I told Ethan last time I went there for something, somebody else stopped me recording
It's just
too.
wannabe TikTokers.
And like, although he was nice, so it wasn't annoying. I'm not complaining about that guy, but he was recording me also for content.
Well, it is annoying if you can't like walk down the street which is like Rodeo. It's a touristy place, but it's also a lot of locals go there. There's great restaurants, great stores. It's just a really nice place.
Yeah.
So people, people of all kinds walk around there, and like, you know, TikTok is ruining everything. You know. Anyway, here it is.
Well, I was just curious. How come you don't like Sneeko?
Oh, he's a piece of shit. You like him?
Yes. How come you don't like Palestine?
I like Palestine.
No, you don't.
Why do you say that?
Because, bro, you're. Wasn't she in the IDF?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that's crazy.
Mandatory service.
That's
She's born
sad.
there.
That's terrorism, bro.
She was born there.
That's sad. I feel bad for you guys. Ethan Klein, bro, you're ugly.
This man goes, by the way.
Dude. I don't know. I mean, there wasn't much there, was there?
Me and Hila, who are happily married, sitting in a Porsche with our beautiful dogs on a day trip away from our beautiful kids, just taking an hour off. He feels bad for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough.
I feel so bad for you guys. Dating and Money 101. Motherfucker, you should take some tips from me on that front. The fact that you're who you getting dating and money advice from? Sneeko? That dude is broke and single.
Yeah, making a girl come is gay.
Once again, I am the traditional king. Like, y'all are fucking looking into the wrong place.
You're not going to believe this. This has just popped up on my timeline. This tweet. Can you believe it? Dude, oh my god, I know what this is going to be. Ethan Klein makes a throwaway comment and Sneeko goes ballistic over it. His fans will say he's based, but he's probably overreacting.
Money advice from Sneeko. That dude is broke and single.
Yeah, making a girl come is gay.
Once again, I am the traditional king. Like, y'all are fucking looking into the wrong place.
Where he has no more argument. Ethan, your Zionist ass ran from the debate that you called for, so now you're using even more Jewish tactics. First you used the Holocaust one, now you're using the money one.
Bro, this is so gay. Don't people see how pathetic this is to, like, have this overreaction to that? It's like, he's made a throwaway jab at you and you just freak out and start rattling on about all this stuff.
Now you're using the money one. What, you have YouTube lying to people so you're getting AdSense? Do you think that makes you a better person? Do you even, okay. You know what? I don't have to talk about my finances to this fucking Zionist rat. If you don't want to do the debate, then scurry your way back into the tunnels, fraud. And shout out to this Palestinian man over here. depressing them. Because over here, yeah, you think that I'm broke and single? Bro, you guys look like demons. That's what everybody sees. Like, no matter what he said, if you just look at the picture of you guys sitting in the car while you're being driven around by your wife, while your legs are up on the dashboard, you look like tweakers at the gas station. It was mandatory conscription. It was mandatory to go and kill Palestinians. You're a murderous freak, the both of you.
Place for your life tips. Why not talk to a dude who's been married and has money?
Fuck you.
Dating 101, motherfucker.
Sick, bro. What are you, 40 years old? Like, you're 40, so you're married. You should be. It's normal. It's very normal for a 26-year-old to be looking to get married, first off. Like, do you think that that was an argument? Second, you're married to an IDF soldier. Dumbass. Bomboka. Most people don't want to be married to terrorist IDF soldiers who advocate towards rape, who start protesting when they can't rape innocent Palestinians more. That's not an accomplishment. The fact that you wifed up an...
Hang on a sec. Didn't Ethan... Hang on. I thought Ethan was very... Wait. I'm pretty sure Ethan was like super critical of that.
IDF soldier. Fuck off. Scurrying in the tunnels.
Respect me, bitch. You getting dating?
Respect me, bro. No one respects you. You called for the debate and you can't run away from it. Nothing about you makes you a man. You have no manly qualities, nothing masculine about you. You're not a man of your word. You're afraid of me. You're a genocidal Zionist. You cried to hasanabi because you can't handle the truth, and you married an IDF soldier. The only thing that you could have is money. The only attribute you could say is, I'm rich. What, lying to people? Back in the tunnel.
Yeah, I just think there's this dynamic where if someone makes like a throwaway jab at you, your reaction, if it's this to this level, to me, I'm just like, bro, chill out. It's not that deep. Like, he's getting agitated about it, where I think if you handled it, you could probably have like a good-natured kind of thing about it, right? But it's the fact that he's going to like, you're murderous rapers, basically. It's like, bro, we got to make it, I think you got to make it funny. I think you got to make it a bit comedic, you know? But he's clearly angry, and it just comes across as like, he's just taking it too seriously.
For your life tips. Why not talk to a dude who's been married and has money?
Fuck you.
Dating 101, motherfucker. Respect me, bitch.
Fuck, bro, you're ugly as shit. You look like a rapist, bro.
Look in the fucking...
You look like a fucking rapist.
So again, and then he starts...
They drive off. Oh, no. And then they just drive off. That's so funny. And they're gone.
Calling me, he says I'm ugly and I look like a rapist.
Yeah.
Now, I told him, look in the mirror. I didn't have a long time to think of something.
Cars were waiting behind me too, so I kind of like had to go.
I would have stayed and talked to him for longer, but yeah, we were blocking traffic. The light had turned green.
Yeah.
You guys flipped him off. Yeah, you guys
that's
both,
what Hila had to say.
Both you guys handled that so well. I love the way you leaned into him, Ethan, after he started talking.
Thank you.
And yeah, flicking him off was just the icing on the cake.
I didn't realize you did that.
I did, and I was like, well, as soon as he said you look like a rapist and I'm a terrorist, I was like, yeah, fuck
okay.
you.
All right, cool. Well, nice productive convo. Where's the screenshot of him?
Which one?
Well, I just
because we've been sending a lot of pictures of him back
people
and forth.
people made an edit with screenshots of him if you want to.
Yeah, here. So this guy said I'm ugly and look like a rapist, and my quick retort was, look in the mirror, and you're about to find out why. This man does not leave house, first of all, without a fedora.
And he was wearing a fedora.
Oh my god.
No, he wears this hat in every video.
It's like Tim Pool level of he never is seen without a fedora on.
So this man doesn't get any dates or any money.
Dating.
No.
This man is called Dating and Money 101.
Yeah.
And he wants it bad.
He should just be called broken.
bad.
He should be broken single.
Well, to be fair, 101 that's
Goals.
a beginner's class. So
You're right. You have to set goals.
You can't teach
Self-admitting.
yeah.
Self-admitted beginner.
You can't teach 101 if you don't have.
No, he's the student.
Yeah, he's the student.
Okay, well, he needs to learn from me and not sneak off.
This is self-admission is the title.
So here's a little sample of the guy who ran up on me.
And every day I wake up from working like a slave, trying to create this beautiful, amazing life, an amazing, beautiful business empire right here in America.
Dude, See, now I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's a bit cringe to have all your crew wet. Oh, right. Yeah, I'm not. I've got to say, this segment's not for me. Okay, this segment is not for me. Yeah, this guy's funny to have a bit of a laugh about, but dude, I don't know. I find it difficult to really get on board with this. Like, yeah, everyone's laughing at this random fucking retard or something. I don't know. It's just like, yeah. Let's do the Woolly Matt video. Also, I wear a fedora. So I feel very... No, I don't really. I don't wear a fedora. No, I don't have a problem with doing it, right? I mean, if people want to do it, it's fine. It's just not for me. I don't find it particularly like, oh yeah, I really want to watch this and have a laugh about it, you know? Oh... It's not for me, that's all, guys, okay? If you enjoy it, good for you. Good for you. But, yeah, it's not React fodder, let's put it that way. Okay, I've been meaning to watch this for a few days now. Here we go. So... Also, I could go to jail.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Thank you. Hey, Logic, I'm trying to find that one gay song that you play. Can you help her out? Yes, I can. I'll do it right now. It's called I'm Gay by Hard Men Working Hard, but I will send it to you.